So we want to make sure everybody is doing it, things safely, and also know your options. Not that y'all don't need to know the same things. It's just you don't need it newly drilled in. Uh,
All right, a reminder.
Somebody must be coming in.
I don't see anybody coming in right now.
That's when I sent a reminder about Tai Chi, so it makes that sound. Yeah.
Oh, so those Claire's tablets are pretty cool. We're not getting ours until October, and it's on my list of trying to figure out who's going to use them. Um,
They're cool.
so I look forward to, and I keep thinking of these great ideas of how to give access to things to the users, but also include our Georgia Health Matters website. So the wellness coordinators across the state, there's 12 of us. Um, we have a website called Georgia Health Matters, and we can put all of our programs on that website, and that's how people can find out what's going on and what we're doing. There's a lot of good information on that website, but I'm trying to make a conscious effort to use that website more. And somebody's
They
paying
might
a
be
lot
able
of
to
money
make you
for
a
it.
button.
Huh?
They might be able to make you a button on the tablet.
Yeah, I think they can do just about anything with that Claire's tab.
Yes.
In the name of keeping it simple, I try to remember that. Like, don't try to think of too many things to where they're inundated with buttons.
Yes.
Because my big thing was about the YouTube page with where all of my videos are. I wanted the Tai Chi students or to be able to get to it. And so we did that last time where they could just go to my YouTube page. But then I had this brilliant idea of I want them to push a button and go to, just the more like tutorial videos, not the class videos. So
Right.
I'm trying to make it to where it's useful, so you don't have to do a lot of searching.
Right.
So like y'all can tell me, Miss Susie, Miss Arlene, if the video we did back in February, is that something that you're ever going to watch again? Does it need to stay on my YouTube page, or is that something I should delete after a certain amount of time?
I personally, I think it should be deleted after a certain amount of time.
That's kind of what I think. Um, just so it doesn't jumble up or um, make things harder to find. So, in terms of this class, to find it again, it will be listed as SOWEGA and the date, August 23rd, 2022, and then it'll say PM. So last week's class was SOWEGA August 16th, 2022, PM. So y'all's class is listed the SOWEGA, the date, and PM. One day I'll get in there and try to figure out like the best, if there's ways to organize it, and then delete what is not useful to you. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm new. I say I'm new. Y'all let me say I'm new for about 5 years, okay? I just feel like I'm learning, like, you know, doggy paddling, going, yeah, I'm a virtual person. I know exactly what I'm doing. Doggy
It's
paddling,
okay
trying to
sometimes.
keep my head above water. But I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to make adjustments. But just know my heart's in the right place and trying to give y'all tools that's helpful outside of our little 1 hour of class. So any input is always appreciated. I don't take any offense to it. All right, so let's get started. By 1:30, we are typically pretty warm just because we probably didn't just wake up. But just in case this is our first movement of the day, We want to walk around, open and close our hands, kind of pump our arms a little bit just to get that blood flowing, get our muscles warm. We never want to exercise with cold muscles. That increases our chance of injury. I'll take this time to make sure my camera is set up a little bit, the right view so you can see everything. Just nice and warm up, walking around the room. Part of the virtual world that we miss out on is being in the same room and making eye contact with each other just to acknowledge each other's existence. I always think that's an important part of the class. When people look you in the eyes and smile, and maybe you say ni hao, which is hello in Chinese, or because we're Southern, we're kind of country, we might say ni howdy, which is a totally made up word, but it's from that Chinese word of ni hao, which is hello in Chinese. So we're nice and warmed up. Let's get our bodies in a right way where we think about our body structure and how we're holding ourselves. So my feet are about shoulder width apart. My weight is on both legs. I have a nice posture. It's like a string that goes up my spine all the way to the ceiling. My shoulders are relaxed. So it's this nice position where my body weight is supported. I have a nice soft bend in my knee. And that's versus a locked knee where my legs are completely straight. So we're not squatted down, but it's just a nice soft bend, which keeps our joints open, or that song joint is what we call it in Tai Chi, S-O-N-G. So we have our body structure this way as we move, as we go through our movements. So first for our neck, we bring our hands up, palms down. Oh Lord, I got somebody coming in. This must be James. All right. Is it James?
Hello.
All right.
Yep.
I'm gonna rename you because how it was typed in looked like your fingers got crazy on the keyboard.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. Call in.
Our hands up, palms down towards our chin and chest. Push away from our body and follow our hands all the way down, chin towards our chest. You feel a little bit of stretch in the back of your neck. I'm going to come closer to the camera. Palms down, hands up, come towards our chin and chest. Push away from our body and follow our hands all the way down, chin towards our chest. In terms of breathing, inhale as we come up, and then exhale whenever you're ready. Usually takes twice as long to exhale as it does to inhale. The second neck exercise starts out the same way. Here we drop one hand, follow this hand as we look towards that shoulder, feeling a slight stretch in that neck, coming back to the front. Switch hands and follow that hand, that shoulder, feeling that nice stretch in your neck. Come back to the front, switch hands. Working on that range of motion of our neck as we go side to side, slowly and smoothly. So as we go through the warm-ups for each of our major joints, these first three could easily be done seated. If you have any problems with balance, or maybe your legs just get tired after a while, you might want to start seated and then stand up when we do our lower body ones. So those two are for our neck. Now for our shoulders, I'm going to roll my shoulders forward. I like to do everything in threes and then roll those shoulders back. Probably feels like a little massage that you give yourself. Roll those shoulders. Don't forget to breathe. And roll those shoulders back. I like to think about drawing, excuse me, little circles on the sides of my legs as I go those, do those circles about the size of a quarter. The other one for our shoulder, we come up, palms up with our hands, and we stop at about shoulder height and then push our hands down. So it's a big shoulder circle. Inhale as we come up, and then exhale as we push our hands down. That's a good one to practice breathing. It's good to sit down and just do this, close your eyes and do this little stretch. Apparently it's important because we do the same exact one at the very end. So those are for our shoulders. Next is for our spine, which involves holding our ball. Now the hand that's on top of our ball pushes down and pushes towards the ground. The hand on the bottom of our ball comes up, follows our spine, and pushes up towards the ceiling. So you're pushing down and up at the same time, keeping that soft bend in your elbow so that your joint is open. Come back to your ball and switch. Stretch that spine. Like a hello, good morning stretch. Now it's hard to tell, but let me change the camera angle to show you that the hand that's pressing up is palm up. The hand that's pressing down is palm down. So you're pressing up and down at the same time, then coming to that ball and switching. And then that hand is pushing up, palm up, and then pushing down, palm down. I like to inhale as I come to my ball and then exhale as I separate and push. Just feel like I can go a little deeper with that stretch. Main thing is your breathing. It's not so much about the timing with the exact movements, because I don't want that to stress you out, to feel like you're not breathing at the right time. I just don't want you to hold your breath. So I'll remind you about breathing, especially when we get to those lower body movements. That's when we tend to take our concentration to holding our balance. Our other one for our spine involves this ball. We go in the direction of the hand that's on top. So I'm going to take that ball for a ride, switch our hands, and come back across, stopping right above my thigh. Switch my hands, come back across. Switch. So we're just going side to side. We're not going as far as we can go, just a slight movement side to side to really warm up our spine and get it ready for movement. Because we're focusing on the principles of Tai Chi, we still get the benefits from it. It's not just like, oh, let's hurry up and get through these warm-ups. They actually have benefits too. So one thing I want to remind you is that this movement that we're just now doing, it's a torso movement. So my torso is moving side to side, and that ball is just going along for the ride. What I'm not doing is moving my hands. You see, right now my body's staying in the same place, and I'm just moving that hand back and forth. That's not going to do anything for my spine. So make sure you're taking that ball and moving your torso. So this warm-up movement right here is especially important to remember, because here in a little while, we're going to learn about waving hands in clouds. Now I'm going to transition to waving hands in clouds, the hand movement, to show you that it's a torso movement. The hands are just a little bit different. So really get an understanding of what it feels like for that torso to move side to side, because it helps us later with that Tai Chi movement. if you were to go way too, as far as you can, like way over here, you're going to feel a lot of tension in your spine. We don't want that tension. That can hurt our spine. You also could feel your knee pulling as you turn and try to keep your legs or your feet planted in the ground. So just know that less is what we're going for in Tai Chi, not that more movement, not that, oh, it must be better because it's bigger or more. That's not it in Tai Chi. It's just that slight small movement side to side, warming up that spine. All right, so those are for the first three major joints, our neck, our shoulders, and our spine. And those are the ones I said, easily done seated. There's no leg movement. That whole time we held our weight on both of our legs. Well, let me change my camera down a little bit as we move to these lower body exercises, starting with our hips. Now, when we do this part, we're going to shift our weight to one leg. We're going to tap our heel forward, then come and pause in the middle, and then tap our toe back into the side, just like a kickstand. Our hands go like this. Let me turn to the side. When my heel is forward, my hands are going to be back. That's a counterbalance. I'm going to pause in the middle, and then I'm going to put that toe back and my hands forward. So my leg is swinging from front to back, and my hands are swinging from front to back. And it's opposite direction to serve as a counterbalance. So that whole time, our weight is on that one stationary leg. So I really like to stick to 3, if not 4, to give that leg a break as we shift our weight to the other side. Now let's do this side where our heels forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward. Now take your time. We're not getting in a hurry, and that's what challenges the stabilizer muscle, is the fact that we are going slow. We all know when we challenge ourselves is when we actually grow. So that's what we like, is a little bit of a challenge. Now, if that ever gets to be too much, have a table nearby where you can allow yourself to hold on to as you go through the movements, or you can have a chair where you can hold on to the chair, or skip those hand movements and hold on all together. Whatever's going to work for you. I just want you to be safe. Now, the other one for our hip, we shift the weight from side to side. We're going to shift the weight. That's the important part. Challenging ourselves when we shift the weight is to lift the foot that doesn't have weight and tap it out a little bit. So that challenges us. Keeping our body upright, not leaning into the weight shift. Because if we were to leaning would be towards falling, and that's what we're not trying to do. So there's the footwork. Now the hand work looks like this. We have our hands stacked, and as we shift the weight to this side, our hands go in that direction. Now notice I stopped at the edge of my body, and that's called staying in my frame. If I were to go way out here, you can see how my body starts to lean, and leaning is going towards falling. That's what we're not trying to do. So I shift the weight and take my hands to that side and tap that foot out if I feel comfortable. Switching my hands, shifting that weight, and tapping that foot to the side. Shift, tap. And I do have a little bit deeper of a bend in my knee, and that lowers my center of gravity and helps me feel more balanced. So you may try and see if that works for you, to have a little bit more bend in the knee. Almost like you're sitting into that position. Don't forget to breathe. I remind you, don't forget to breathe, about the time I catch myself holding my breath. Just that's an insider's information. So that one's for your hips as well. Next is for our knees, and we have a loose fist. Remember, Tai Chi is the slowest fight you're never going to have. So we're not really going to punch anyone, but in this movement, we do come out with our hands, just like a punch, not completely locking that joint, still having that open joint, that soft bend. So it's here, not here. You see the difference? So we're going to be punching back, punching back. Our footwork is going to be opposite of the hand that punches out. So I shift the weight to one leg. I'm going to lift the foot, tap out, and punch. Opposite hand. Back up a little so you can see. Shift, lift, tap and punch. Bring it back. Shift, lift, tap and punch, and bring it back. So make sure you stay slow on this to really engage your stabilizers as you shift your weight from right to left, trusting yourself to lift that foot and tap out. That's a challenge. Remember, if you have problems with your balance, to keep that chair or table nearby that you can rely on if you feel yourself getting a little off. The other neat exercise, we shift the weight, and this time we're going to step out heel toes. Just a really small step. I'm going to shift the weight to that front foot, leaving a little weight on the back foot still, punching out and coming back, feet side by side. Now, one thing I want to remind you is that back foot stays flat on the floor as you shift the weight forward and bring it back. Again, I want to remind you that you keep your body upright as you shift the weight, and that foot stays flat on the floor. What it looks like to be wrong is lifting that back foot off the floor and leaning into the movement. So this is wrong here. Why? Because I'm going towards falling, and falling is not good. So that's one thing that helps keep us from falling, whether it be in Tai Chi or whether it be out and about into the real world, is that stable stance, both feet flat on the floor, upright posture. Even though I'm shifting the weight to that front foot, I'm still in a stable stance. Shifting it back to bring those feet side by side. So that one can be tricky sometimes. So just keep in mind, shift the weight. Small step, heel toe. Shift, keeping both feet on the floor, body upright. Shift the weight to that back foot and feet side by side. Shift, step, heel toe. When I shift to that front foot, I'm not completely shifting my weight. There's still weight on my back foot. And then bring the weight fully to the back foot and side by side. So as we rely on one leg and then the other leg to support our weight, we just really be conscious of the way we're holding our body so it best supports us so we don't fall. Next is for our ankles. I like to keep my hands here in front of me. I'm going to shift my weight, and then I'm going to go heel, toe, just rocking that foot, heel, toe. Working on that range of motion of my ankle joint. Bring that foot back, shift the weight, and let's do the other foot. Heel, toe, heel, toe. Bring that foot back. Now let's do the other ankle. Shift the weight. Big toe, little toe. So now I'm going side to side. I know I say range of motion every time I go through our major joints, and that's because having a good range of motion means that our body can move the best that it can. Shift the weight, little toe, big toe. And some of us may have some problem areas, range of motion wise. I know my mother-in-law, she can't lift her arm up probably any higher than this. So there's some issues there. Sometimes we can do something about it. Sometimes we can't. Bring that foot back. Give yourself a shake. And now what Dr. Lamb tells us, and that's the person who wrote the program, is that if you are unable to do a certain move, to envision yourself being able to do it. And so if I can't lift this arm any higher than this, but I can this arm, then in my mind's eye, I'm moving both arms all the way as I do that shoulder circle. So I do what I can, but use my mind's eye to envision that I can do the whole movement. And so sometimes that can lead us to being able to, and sometimes it can't, but that's called visualization. All right, so those are warm-ups. Are we good with our warm-ups?
Yeah.
Okay. James, don't let me, because this is new. You're new to Tai Chi, right?
Yeah. This is
Okay.
only my second class.
I know. So I was just double checking to make sure that you hadn't been in a class somewhere else before. If you ever feel like I'm going too fast or rushing through something, make sure you let me know so I can slow down, review, say it in a different way. I don't want, my intention is never to leave anybody behind. So because you're new, I might say something that's confusing. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And Miss Susie and Miss Arlene were in my last virtual class. So they're a good resource. Miss Susie, you're a real good resource for our Claris tablet. You know how to make things happen on there that I have no clue. So I appreciate your input there. All right, so what we're going to do now is start to go over our Tai Chi series of movements. What we just did was our warm-up. That's what we do every single time, to just warm up and get all of our major joints ready. Now, I've had classes that only did the warm-up. They never learned the Tai Chi series of movements. And that's okay, because we do it with Tai Chi principles. But y'all want to do more than that. I know y'all can do more than that. So we will. The very first movement is called commencement. Now, I do mirror image for y'all. So when I say shift right, step left, shift left, bring that right foot forward, that's done in mirror image. So I'm here in backsley, and when I'm saying shift right, that's really my left leg. But because it's mirror image, then y'all can follow me easier. So with commencement, that's the bottom part. That's the footwork of commencement, is shift right, step heel toe with that left foot, shift left, bring that right foot forward. It's a step forward. That's the easy part of commencement, of just shifting the weight to take a step and bringing that other foot forward. So let's practice that. Shift right, step left, heel toe, shift left, bring that right foot forward. Easy enough, right? hand work. So our hands start to our sides. Now we always have that nice upright posture, our feet shoulder width apart. Our weight starts out on both feet. With Tai Chi, we do weight transfer throughout our movements, but we always start off weight on both feet. So our hands do this. They start side by side, or to our sides. They're going to face each other as they come up. Our hands facing each other. We're not going to go any higher than shoulder height. And also we have that soft bend. So we're not Frankenstein. We have that soft bend. Then we're going to come back down and then towards our waist. Come up like an elevator. Go out and back in. So let's go over that again. Let me turn to the front. Our hands come up facing each other and down. They're facing each other that whole time. We come back in, up, out, and back in. So you might have saw my wrist move a little bit. You don't have to do that, or you can do that. It's completely up to you. It just adds a little bit more movement for your joints. So if you are interested in that wrist movement, when your hands come up, your fingers are more pointed towards the ground, just like that. When your hands come down, or your arms come down, you bring your fingers more pointed towards the ceiling as you come down. When you come in, your fingers go out, up. So my fingers are pointed out. And then when I come back in at the end, my fingers point up. And that gets me ready for that next move. So that gives you a little bit of wrist movement. So up, fingers are more down. Down, fingers are more up. And then my fingers point out as I finish that movement, out, and then come back in, fingers come up. Dr. Lamb in his videos have this great little story that goes along with that movement, and it's about showing off a ball. So this may help you in remembering this movement where you go, oh, look at my ball. Isn't this ball so beautiful? Oh, it's so shiny and pretty. Don't you want to play with it? They don't want to play with it. So you bring it back. Well, you want to give them one more chance because it's such a nice ball. Show it to them again, and they don't want your ball. So you bring it back to yourself. Okay? So that's Dr. Lamb's way of kind of how remembering that move. I have my ball, I bring it up, I show it off. Oh, it's such a beautiful ball. Don't you want to play with it? No, you don't? Oh, are you sure? But it's such a pretty ball. And no, they don't. So that's your ball. So I think it's helpful. Other people like to think about it being up. We're drawing a U as we come up. That doesn't help me because that is not how I draw a U, but that is another way that it's been explained. So let's do just that arm movement together. We bring those hands up and down towards our body, up, out, and back in. We'll turn to the side as we do it again. Bring those hands up and down towards our bodies, up, out, and back in. Y'all feel good with that? Let's put our feet and hands together, reminding us what our feet did. We shift right. We step left heel toe. We shift left and bring that right foot forward. So putting those together can be tricky. It starts feeling like you're tapping your head and rubbing your belly, like you're doing too many things. So when we shift the weight to that right leg, we do that at the same time that we're bringing our hands down. So when you shift the weight, it's almost a down movement, right? Whenever we take our hands out, we're shifting the weight to that left leg. That's going forward, right? We're shifting the weight forward. That happens at the same time that we're taking our hands out forward. So the movement goes together in a way that makes sense. From the beginning, weight on both legs, and our hands come up. So nothing happening with those legs. When I take my hands down, that's when I shift the weight to that right leg. So up, down, shift. Okay, so feel what that feels like. Just moving the hands up, down, shift right. Up, down, shift right. So now we know our hands come back in. We're going to step left, bring those hands up. Now we're going to shift left as those hands go out. Bring that right foot forward, and then our hands come back. So we can chop it up like that. And when we learn, we chop it up. Just like when we're learning to read, and we learn that, like the word dog. D says D, O says ah, G says G. And we have to go D, ah, G. And we go D, ah, G, da, ah, G, dog. And that's how it looks and sounds like whenever we're learning our Tai Chi. We chop it up until we can do it smoothly. So we come up with our hands, down, shift right, step left as our hands come in, and up, shift left as our hands go out, bring that right foot forward, hands come back. Well, let's do that several times and I'll talk you through it. Starting out with that upright posture, nice separation of our feet, holding our weight, and commence. Hands up, down, shift right. Step left as those hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Bring the right foot forward, hands come back. All right, let's do it again. And commence. Up, down and shift. Step, in, up. Shift as I go out. Right foot forward, hands come back. Opening. Oh, I'm trying to go to the next thing. All right, let's do it again. I'm going to talk less and commence. What you think, James? What you think about commencement?
I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah,
It took me a couple tries.
It feels awkward when we do it for the first time.
Right.
Hang in there, keep practicing, and break it down in those parts to help keep it more manageable. But just know, up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come up. Shift as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back. Commencement. Practicing that weight shift and step forward, just the footwork. Shift right, step left, shift left, right foot forward, and we even out our weight there. With our hands come up, down, in, up, out, and back in. So for as complicated as that is, we get this wonderful little gift for our second move called open and close. And it's just about as easy as that. Our hands are here from when we finished commencement. We open and close. And close. Now you may have heard me blow air, and that's it when I exhale. But when I inhale, my hands naturally open. So, and when I exhale, they naturally close. And that's just from my lungs filling up with air and then completely emptying air. That's open and close. Almost like an accordion, open and pulling an accordion, pushing an accordion, or like a bellows when you're putting air on fire to get it to start up again, I guess, if it's died down. Open and close. Nothing's happening with our feet. There's no footwork on open and close. Our weight is being supported on both legs. So putting it with commencement, we have up, down, shift right, step left, hands come in and up, shift left as those hands go out, bring that right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. So let's do that several times, putting those two together. And commence. Open and close. From the side, commence, up, down, open, close. So that may have been a little confusing in terms of mirror image for me to turn to the side, but I really wanted you to see that bend in my legs as I went through the movement. So I'll do not mirror image right now because legitimately this is my right foot. So when I do commencement, I come up, there's still that soft bend in my knee, but when I come down, you see I kind of bend into that movement. I kind of sit into that as I shift the weight to that right leg. So it's up, shift. And then whenever I come back for the end of that movement, before I do open and close, you saw how my body rose again. But it's not that I have a locked knee, it's just that soft bend. So just pay attention to how my knees bend with commencement. So you see how I kind of squatted down a little bit and then came back up. When you bend into that knee, it helps you be more stable. And you can play around with that to see just how much bend works for you because our bodies are all different. Okay? So from the front again, commence, up, mirror image, open and close. And again, commence, up and down, shift right, step left, shift forward, and bring those hands back, open and close. Man, our legs are going to be really sore from doing all this commencement with the weight shift, with the bending of the knee. Now, this is how come Tai Chi is considered a cardiovascular exercise. So your heart is a muscle that pumps like this, right? Pump, pump, pump. Well, whenever you squat down and up, down and up, that's kind of like a pump, isn't it? So this is just me kind of doing a small squat up and down from the side. Just a small squat up and down. That's what I do when I shift, step. That's the up and down movement, like a pump. Whenever you do that throughout your Tai Chi, it's pumping that blood through your body, making your heart pump. That's why you get a little hot. That's why it's considered a cardiovascular exercise. And you wouldn't think it was cardiovascular because I'll be honest with y'all, when I first did Tai Chi, I was like, I don't know about it being cardiovascular, because when I think of cardiovascular, I think of sweat. And I think of doing something really fast and hard and high. And, you know, I think of these big, crazy movements, sweat, hot. I think of cardiovascular like that. Jumping jacks, running, you know, walking fast, something that's a lot. So I really wasn't thinking of Tai Chi as a cardiovascular, but that's why it is because when we do weight transfer and we shift the weight, and then as we go through those movements and our body is pumping blood with the up and down motion of our legs, that's how it's cardiovascular. It encourages our heart to pump more blood. So that's a little mini explanation of that. Why it's important to do your part to bend into that movement as you're shifting weight, so that your blood is pumping and it's working your heart. If that's the benefit that you want, it helps improve the stamina. It helps your physical fitness because your heart is getting stronger, your lungs are getting stronger, and of course your muscles. Not just your big muscles, because it's working those, but those small muscles too. So this week, as you're practicing commencement, think about that little mini bend. When you shift the weight, there's that mini bend and up here. So even in open and close, you can practice that mini bend. So I'm here with a little bit of a squat. I inhale, my body comes up, and I exhale as my hands come back together. There's that little mini squat. So practicing that. So you can see my head comes to the towards the top of the screen a little closer. When I exhale, when I inhale, it comes closer to the top. When I exhale, it comes. And it's just a tiny little movement. But as you practice, I just want you to be conscious of that little bit of bend in that knee, and not locking those knees ever, so that energy can flow through your joints. So that's our 2 movements for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about single whip, which comes from here. You know, we have our hands here from open and close. We shift left, step right, push our hands out, turn, separate, our eyes following that left hand as we separate, really open that chest. shift left, and bring that right foot back. Or you can keep this hand up to get ready for open and close. So that's what we're going to talk about next week and add it on to our series of movements. But for commencement and open and close, do you have any questions or comments, anything to add? All right, so even if you've done Tai Chi for a long time, it's always good to revisit the basics of the movement and just really think about why we do the things that we do in Tai Chi class to get the benefits from it. Yes, our goal is probably balance, having good coordination and control over our body as we move through life, not just in Tai Chi class, but we want to increase our the range of motion. We want to let go of some of that tension and stiffness that maybe some of our joints have. We want to improve our stamina so we can go more and do more. We don't wear out. And we can do that as long as we're following principles. So at the end of our class, we always give ourselves a little fist massage. Our legs work really hard when we shift that weight, when we do that little mini squat. So don't be surprised if your legs get a little bit sore. Whenever you're practicing, make sure you're aware of your upright posture. And that gives you a good habit so that when you're out and about and moving, then you have the habit of good posture, relaxed shoulders, and a good straight back. Then we intentionally gather tension. So we tighten our muscles and then we let it go. So we gather tension, we tighten up our muscles, and then we release and let it go. Sometimes we hold tension and don't even realize we're holding tension. So be conscious of that. Revisit your body, do a little body scan and go, oh, I'm holding tension in my shoulders. That's going to start causing pain. We let that go. One more time, gather tension and then let it go. Now let's do a big shoulder circle and exhale. Same one we do in the beginning. Inhale as we come up and exhale as we come down. Inhale. And there's that little squat there too. When we come up, our legs come up, not locking, but come up. And then when we exhale, there's that little mini squat. Again, you don't have to do that. I just try to give you tips and ways to make these movements more than what they already are. That's how you grow with Tai Chi, is you start where you are and you start challenging yourself to do something a little different. And that's true with anything in life. So I like to think a lot about weightlifting. So if I took a 2-pound weight and I did an arm curl, if I did 10 arm curls every day, just that 2-pound weight every day, 10 arm curls. I'm not going to grow muscle unless one day I pick up that 3-pound dumbbell and do my 10. You know, you have to do something that challenges yourself in order to grow. So that's something to think about. And then the end of class, we take our fist, our right fist, I'm doing mirror image, that represents our strength. And it's a loose fist. We have our left hand, our fingers are together, that represents our friendship. And then our thumb is in tight, and that represents our humility. So strength, friendship, and humility. And we put those together, and in mutual respect, we say, namaste.
Namaste.
So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
You always let me know how I can help you best. You have a button on your Claris tablet that connects you to me. So that sends me an email. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And if not, then I will see y'all next Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, see you then.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you.